Good morning, everybody. I am at the park today. It is heckin' cold. It feels like, I think it's like -7 degrees centigrade outside. I don't know how to translate that, sorry for the Americans. But before I started YouTube, I used to watch a lot of artists on YouTube. They'd be filming videos about how they had too many sketchbooks and they weren't finishing them and it was overwhelming, and I thought, oh, I don't have that problem. I just, start a sketchbook and then I finish it and it's fine. And then, a new year is approaching. I was going through my house and having a bit of a clear out, and I realized that it snuck up on me. I've become that. I have accumulated, I got a problem. And so I thought that while I'm in the process of going through all these sketchbooks and trying to figure out what's going on and how to handle it, I thought I would film it all for you guys so we can share it all together. You can see what I've got going, and I can have a bit of a clear out. So welcome to the video. If you enjoy my videos and think other people would like to see them, or you're new here and you like it already, the vibes are good, then maybe hit like and subscribe. Like, it's cringe, but like the YouTube algorithm is just like that. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you did that. I hope everyone's having a cozy and cute festive season in the Northern Hemisphere and keeping cool in the Southern Hemisphere. And yeah, I'll hand you over to future me to get on with the rest of the video. Let me just start by saying that I love my sketchbook practice. I would not have it any other way. I think it's one of the best things that I ever did for myself. But I feel like I have to start holding myself a little accountable. So today I thought what we could do is go through all of the sketchbooks that I have started and are not yet complete, put it that way, and have a look at what's in there and maybe make a couple of plans for how I might address this problem and stop being so overwhelmed by this pile of sketchbooks. You might be looking at this pile thinking, there's just like 5 sketchbooks there, Jules. Like that's not a problem, right? Like that's a normal amount. Well, not quite, we may have a bit of a problem on our hands. So yes, I'm gonna start from the smallest to the biggest because that's how I could stack them on this table. And I hope you enjoy having a look through at all of my various projects with me, and we can see maybe a little bit of an insight into how my mind works along the way. Okay, so from the top, starting with my these little A6 or less size sketchbooks, I have this little black sketchbook from Royal Talons Art Creations series. I started this one as a design sketchbook, and gradually I kind of fell out of that idea, and then recently I actually did pick it up again with the intention of doing these little sort of floral doodles from vintage or medieval manuscripts, and I think that I will proceed like that. I think that one thing that's helped me with filling out these Royal Talons sketchbooks is that I kind of committed to not having to necessarily draw on both sides of the page. I think that was, there's like 80 pages in one of these sketchbooks, right? Which sounds like a lot of pages, especially if it's actually 160. So I have only committed to drawing on one side for now, which also will help me if I want to scan it or like trace it onto a different piece in the future. Then that leaves me with the flexibility to do that without worrying about something on the other side. And I can always go back and put stuff on the other pages later as well. It will just help me feel like I'm making some progress with these tiny books. Okay, the next one is this book that just says Ultramarine on the front. This is a book that I started. It's just a little Hanamula, I think, one of these little sketch note books. I like these a lot. They're very inexpensive and incredibly nice paper. And I started out using this one for doodles, just using the color ultramarine. So I kind of separated out all of my ultramarine art supplies and pens, and I was just trying out making shapes and patterns and just doodling in this sketchbook. I think there's only like a few spreads left, so maybe in the next couple of weeks I could make an effort in the evening, maybe after work, and just put my head down and finish up this one so it can just go on the finished sketchbook shelf. instead of on my pile of sketchbook graveyard of dead ideas. The next one is this little Stillman and Burn beta series, I believe. Yes, sketchbook. It's quite nice paper. It's quite thick, very white watercolor paper, and I bought this to use mostly just as an experiment to see what the paper was like, and I used it for a couple of watercolor experiments, a couple of little doodles, and just some testing. But I haven't really found, I used it for a couple of drawing sessions, but I haven't really found my way with it, I suppose, yet. But maybe it will just exist as a way for me to try out small ideas still, and just have a place which this paper takes watercolor very well, so it enables you to try out those ideas, but in a small format, low commitment environment. So maybe I won't push to finish this one because it was quite expensive and the paper is quite nice. So it's not really the sort of thing which I feel like I can just scribble on and finish up. Though I do know that, you know, it doesn't make sense to be too precious about sketchbooks, so no worries about that. Another one is this Color Stories sketchbook that I started as another one of those sketch notebooks. And I had a few of these when I was figuring out color and I was playing around with. In this one, I was basically swatching all of my supplies by sort of pigment. So I had a couple where I was using different systems, but you can see I was swatching out my watercolors and other supplies to see which colors matched which. I think it was like a fun little exercise. Maybe I'll just try and finish it up and just see where it takes me, but also it was just a little sketchbook, so I don't feel too obliged, and there's only a few pages left. So maybe this one could go on the finished shelf already. This tiny little notebook I bought to take with me to a museum when I went to Berlin, like almost 2 years ago at this point. I used it for a few sketches just in graphite, April 2022, and I have just used it for a couple of doodles since. I think it's a fun one to take with me when I go to a museum and I don't want to take anything too high commitment. It fits in a pocket nicely. The paper's just nice for just some quick sketches when you're just standing up and you don't want to make anything super finished. So I think that still serves its purpose. It's now my little out and about museums and galleries sketchbook. This one is a little bit different. This is a sketchbook by C. White of Brighton, and it's an A6 sketchbook with just black paper in it. So all I've done here so far, I think, is swatch out supplies to see how they look on black paper, which is, not necessarily the best. Oh, I did a couple of little experiments. That's kind of fun. But I haven't found a way yet that I like to use black paper. I think it would be fun to continue to use this for some more experiments. I know that I've seen the Lazy Redhead here on YouTube. She absolutely loves to use black paper sometimes, and I was so inspired by seeing how freely she creates. I really recommend you check out her channel. And yeah, I think I should do some more of those. So maybe that can also go on my, maybe it's like an Advent sketchbook clear out countdown. This is a little Caddy Papers sketchbook, which I bought ages and ages ago when I was first getting into watercolor, just to try out the paper and see what I could do with it. It contains some swatches, a mixture of sort of swatches, little sketches, experiments, but I am not even halfway through, I don't think, so there's definitely more to be filled here. I think that maybe I should just do some more playing around, color mixing, and do some more of these little, I really liked these flower sketches that I did. The ones which were done with a fountain pen, I think, and then just watercolor over the top, and also these sort of minimalist floral sketches, which were also from some book or manuscript or something. I should go back and do some more of those as well. I do quite like this paper. It's a little bit different to other watercolor paper, but it's definitely extremely functional for just some quick sketches. This isn't really a sketchbook, this is just a pad of paper. I did one sketch in here. I did this little abstract dotty composition, which I did with gel pen, so you can actually feel the texture of where I've done all these dots. I like this. I don't know what my plans are for the rest of this paper, but I guess it barely counts as a sketchbook. Maybe I can let myself off the hook on that one, but it's quite nice paper. Would recommend this Hahnemuhle grey toned paper. This little guy is incredibly cute. I bought this little paint-on sketchbook by Clairefontaine, It contains really thick paper, and the one that I got is very smooth white paper. I bought it for doing experiments in acrylic gouache. I have not done any experiments in acrylic gouache. I did one small painting, and then the other day when I was feeling like I was losing it, I decided to swatch out all of my acrylic gouache in the back of it so that I could maybe make some progress and actually start using this, because I keep thinking to myself like, oh, I should buy more acrylic gouache. No, I have all the colors I need. I just need to use them. So now we're into the A5 territory, and this sketchbook there's a couple of these actually. These Royal Talens Art Creation sketchbooks, everyone loves these. They're incredibly affordable. The paper is very nice. This one is one of the ones with the ivory toned paper, and I started out using it when I really first started getting back into art as like a swatch book for my supplies, and then it turned into like a monthly swatch book and sort of like a journal, and then I kind of stopped using it for that, and now it's just mostly an empty sketchbook. So I think maybe I need to come up with a way to just mentally move on from what's in this sketchbook already. Either I could go through and swatch out all my old color palettes in here. That could be kind of fun. That would be one way to fill it, I think, without feeling like I've abandoned the concept entirely. If you're interested in those monthly color palettes, by the way, I did an entire video on going through all of my color palettes from the last like 3 years. You should go check it out because it's quite the ride. Another one of these Hahnemuhle sketch notebooks. You can tell that I really like these. I have kind of a problem because they're so cheap. I just buy them on a whim. This was one of the ones which I think I started as a, this is what I started it upside down. That's right. That's not a good start, is it? I started using it as this pressed flower journal, which I also made a video on my channel. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out. But I should probably continue to use it as that because I still have a ton of these pressed flowers, and I think they are really cute when you see like the spreads with the flowers on one side and the drawings on the other. I really like looking at that. So I probably wouldn't regret it if I just committed to finishing this up. There's not that many pages and I only have to draw on one side. So yeah, come on. We can do this, we can do this. This is a craft paper sketchbook, A5, again, also by Hahnemuhle. I live in Germany right now, so it's a brand that's very easy to obtain, and therefore I have a few of their things. I started out thinking that I would start doing some kind of sketches on toned paper in this. I tried out this just using some black and white and did some really bad sketches, and then I did a couple of drawing session images in it. I have not done anything else in here. Any suggestions for how to use craft paper sketchbooks? Highly appreciated, because I am a little bit at a loss. On the black paper, I can kind of see it, but this one is even bigger, which really, it just really feels like a commitment. I don't know. So yeah, maybe I will just see where this one takes me. At least it's thin, so it doesn't take so much space on an unfilled sketchbook shelf. This is a recent one, and one that I do not feel so bad about. I bought this sketchbook with the express purpose of practicing drawing Pokemon, which may come as a bit of a surprise for you, but I started this project where I wanted to illustrate all of the Pokemon as these medieval creatures. And in order to do that, I had to really understand, I think, what the Pokemon looked like to begin with. So I started out by illustrating Pokemon in this sketchbook. I really enjoy looking back through this. I will totally continue with this. Again, I'm still only drawing on one side, so I feel like that is not so much of a commitment, and they're just pencil sketches, so I can totally continue with that one. And there's 80 sketches in here, 80 pages. And there's like over 100 Pokemon, so I think I will be going through this one in no time, and maybe then I can use the other side of the page next, back when I've committed to finishing this already. This one is a little Moleskine Cahier, just plain paper, so incredibly thin paper, really not honestly that amazing, but I've been using this for just sketching when I go out. It fits in my coat pocket. Maybe I'll try and finish this even on a walk after I've filmed this video, so hopefully I might be able to finish this. But I really enjoy taking this out and just doing what I call them my outside shapes journals, because I just take like a black brush pen, nothing crazy, and just go and sketch shapes that I see outside. Maybe I'll go back to these one day and use them for inspiration for some more abstract pieces or some illustrative work. Not sure, but it certainly is a fun way to engage with going on a walk. This is a fun one. So this is this grey splattered sketchbook with this fluorescent orange band on it. My friend bought me this for my birthday, I think, a couple of years ago. It's by a German company called Nuna, N-U-U-N-A, and it's full of pastel colored paper. And my idea with this was that I would use just black pen and do some illustrations on it, so that it's just colored paper, black pen drawings. I think I only did like 1 or 2 pages of this before I kind of forgot about it, I guess, but I could totally go back and do some more, because I think it's still a nice idea and I still think it would be fun. I was using black Posca pen in the end for this. That's what I landed on. I think that was what worked best on this paper, because it is kind of printed with the pastel color. The paper is not just innately the pastel color. This is a little watercolor sketchbook. I bought it from Jackson's, but I think that a lot of big brands will carry exactly this sketchbook. It's made by a German company called Kunst und Papier, which just means art and paper, if you're interested. And I was using this one as a little journal. I got the idea from Aliona Creates to buy this one, and I have been using it for documenting color mixes a lot. I haven't really used it for any actual sketching. I just used it to mess around with some mixes. Sometimes in advance of making a video, I would check out what the mixes were going to look like already in this sketchbook. There's only a few pages left, so I expect I'll be probably done with it soon. It's nice paper, it's quite thin. I think that it works really well if you just want an inexpensive watercolor sketchbook to mess around in without feeling like you're wasting your expensive watercolor paper, and it acts fine, honestly, like just for little sketches, absolutely perfect. Up next we have another curse of the toned paper. So I bought this at Jackson's Art in London. I actually was in the physical store shopping with a friend when I picked this up. This is the Stillman and Byrne Nova series, and it's the one where you can probably see there's 3 colours in here. So it has a grey section, a black paper section, and then a tan toned paper at the back. And I thought this would be a good way to get into sketching on toned paper, and I also quite like the size. I think it's very pleasing, this sort of square format, but I haven't used it very much. I think I used it for like 2 things ever, maybe. Yeah, but I do like what I've done in here. I think I feel quite precious about the paper because it was a little bit expensive, and having 3 colours in one book, I don't know, I feel like it's easy to lose track and not be able to keep up a solid concept. So again, I think the major thing that I'm noticing about this video is that I struggle with toned paper a lot. I don't do a lot of like life drawing or that kind of sketching, and so illustrating on toned paper is something which I'm not really sure how to approach. So let me know in the comments below if you have any tips or ideas, or you'd like to see me do a video on it, because sometimes that's motivating for me to actually get to grips with things if people want to see it from me. But it's a really nice sketchbook. No regrets. I'm just not quite sure what to do with it. We're getting into the big boys now. This is a sketchbook which you've already seen, because I did a video where I painted the first page of the sketchbook, and I said I was going to do go through my old sketchbook, basically my first ever sketchbook, and redo pages from that sketchbook in this. Have I done it? Not really. I am kind of at a bit of a crossroads where I feel like I like this paper, I like this sketchbook. It's a Stillman and Byrne Epsilon series, so it's thin, smooth, white paper, really nice for ink and stuff. And I feel like I need to decide whether I'm going to stick with that concept or whether I just want to use it as a regular sketchbook. I feel like I can still stick with that concept. I just need to maybe find some time, dedicate some time to actually following through on my idea. And well, isn't that just a global issue for many of us? Just finding the time to actually do what we've said that we will do. So I will try and stick with it for now. I do like the idea of being able to go through and see how I reinvent ideas that I had before and have that all in one place. So for once I do want to be a little bit precious about this one, I think. On the other end of the spectrum, this is what I would describe as an art journal that I've been keeping. I'm not really much of an art journaler, but this is a sketchbook that I bought with the express purpose of making a mess with paint. This is an A4 Royal Talents Art Creation sketchbook. Again, you can see that there's a running theme here because they're affordable and easy to convince yourself that it's worth picking up. Cream paper, and I was just using this for abstract sketches and sometimes a little bit of, I guess, emotional journaling or something like that. I don't know. Like some of these I wrote some words on. I don't know if I'll show those in the video, but there is a lot, there's a lot going on in here, and I do enjoy it for just like feeling free, being able to just put it on my coffee table and just chuck paint on it, and I have no precious feelings about this whatsoever. This lives in my living room and just comes out when I need to just make a mess with no consequences. This is another project sketchbook. God, there's so much dust in this room from all these sketchbooks. I bought this. It's just a really, like, it's a sketchbook, you know, like for just really light paper, really only designed for use with graphite. And I've been using this to brainstorm ideas and start coming up with designs. I'd really like to design a deck of oracle cards, like tarot cards, but with my own titles and designs. And this is so I guess kind of a long-term aspirational sketchbook of just the ideas that I want to use for that. That's also something that I would be interested in working on a bit more next year, maybe pushing to focus on it a little bit more. That's something that I would also really like to live stream. If I did like a drawing live stream, it would be a perfect opportunity to just work on some of these shitty little sketches and come up with ideas. I do like I like that the sketchbook exists. It represents a bit of a dream for me, a goal. I don't have many goals in my life. I like to live sort of one day at a time, but this is a goal. Only 2 sketchbooks to go. You guys are doing great. This is an A4 sketchbook, just an own brand art store sketchbook that I bought for use in drawing sessions because I don't have currently a running sketchbook. I used to do these drawing sessions in my big sketchbook that would be my everyday sketchbook. I don't have one of those anymore, at least not a big one, and so I decided to buy one of these to use for sort of looser sketches. I've only used it for one drawing session so far. That will change. I love those Odd Orange drawing sessions. If you don't follow Odd Orange Stationery on Instagram, it's run by Morgan Grice. She's incredibly inspiring, and she runs these drawing sessions and everybody has a great time, so highly recommend you join those. And then last but not least, this sketchbook is just another little pamphlet-y sketchbook. It's got a little bit more cream paper than the last one that I used. I also managed to start it upside down. I don't know how that keeps happening to me, but it does, and I am quite attached to this sketchbook because I took it to my first and only ever life drawing class. I went by myself when I was in Berlin. I was only there for a couple of days, but I found this life drawing class and I went there. It was very brave of me, to be honest, and I don't know. I feel like I should do some more life drawing in here. I don't know how much of this I can show on YouTube. It's just boobs. You know, there's nothing crazy going on here. But yeah. So I would love to do some more life drawing, but I find it difficult to motivate myself to do it at home. So that's it. That's my pile of sketchbook shame, which is an exaggeration. I'm not actually ashamed, or I wouldn't be posting it on YouTube for everyone to see, would I? Thank you for sticking with me to go through all these sketchbooks. Let me know if you can relate to this problem. It really crept up on me. I really didn't see it coming at all. I don't know how this happened to me, but we will get through this together. I'm going to make a whole ton of art. It's quite actually exciting to take it from a pile of unfinished sketchbooks and just see it as like a pile of unrealized ideas. So I'm hoping to make my way through a few of these sketchbooks before the end of the year at least, and I will hopefully manage to not accumulate so many ongoing sketchbooks in the future. Famous last words, honestly. I feel like it's an uphill struggle for every artist who works in sketchbooks. But I hope you enjoyed seeing all of this work. It's a little bit of a catalogue of my random thoughts from the last couple of years. Let me know in the comments down below again what sketchbooks you use, whether you find that you also end up starting and not finishing sketchbooks, and maybe we can brainstorm some ideas for how to get through this together in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and share with a friend who also maybe has a bit of a sketchbook hoarding issue. Solidarity, friends. And with that, I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.